In honor of Cancer, the sign that the sun is currently going through, I thought I'd bring you some lunar considerations. This is about as detailed a version of the moon as NASA or whoever pulled it off has managed to attain and provide for us to, take a look at. And so I just thought I'd throw that up there. And part of the experience and the reason for the moon as the ruler of Cancer coming to the surface for the considerations today is that the moon signifies a lot of things. It's our connection to mom, to ironically to Mother Earth. But more interesting is that in my understanding of the use of the astrological tool, moon represents soul. I talk a lot about soul here in my considerations of the astrological dance. Well, yesterday I wrote up some words on soul. I'm going to just read them to you so that you can, let's see. Let's change this vision to, there we go. Sit back and enjoy some stillness, as can be emphasized by this gondolier out, probably on his morning fishing trip. Soul. Just sit back and relax. Feel into what it is that I'm going to read to you. What does that word conjure up for you? There is a large gamut of possibility available depending on what bridges you have had to cross to reach your current moment. You might ask yourself if the version of soul you resonate with can be accessed with any clarity in your daily life. What might your response be to an awareness of a truly vibrant zone of presence, seeking your participation in discovering what or the soul might mean if you could communicate with this portion of yourself? Oh, was that a slip of the tongue attempting to signify soul as a presence within? Wouldn't it be ironic if the within part of the equation was the human being, and that the soul was potentially at the helm? The human version of daily life we have been indoctrinated within often offers minimal opportunity to delve deeply into this type of question. One of the potential windows into these matters is the field of astrology. While seemingly pigeonholed to a limited version of the life dance, there is a vast variety of ways to engage in the celestial dance presented within and beyond that first glimpse of your astrological chart. Did you know that you came pre-programmed with a mission for your Earth walk? It would be an error to say that this was going to be handed to you on a silver platter. As a matter of fact, the distractions of life on this planet created through our engagement with one another can easily lead one astray of that vital mission your soul is about. Come, sit with me for a spell, or perhaps an inkling of your greater mission may begin to surface. In my current incarnation, I have wandered the astrological path for the past 55 years and understand that one lifetime is not sufficient to grasp all the potentials for this art. However, I have picked up some insight and am willing to share with you visions that could awaken and enliven that soul part of you. There's a lot more I could say about what it is that soul represents, but the astrological dance has been going on for a long time. This is a version of the astrology, a carving, if you will, into rock of what the celestial vision was like. And, this is from 6,000 years ago. Like I say, this has been around for a long time, this art form. I'm going to bring up, the chart for right now. Let's take a look. Now this week, this is today, by the way, Sunday, when I'm sitting down to, offer this chat. You can still sit back and enjoy the experience of the stillness that I am allowing to enfold this consideration of the lunar dance. As the week proceeds, keep an eye on this moon here. You can kind of see on Sunday, it went into Leo. To Monday here, it's still in Leo. What else is going on? Let's see. There were only a few things, actually a couple things that I saw that were going to be transpiring this week. And one is that on, what was it? Oh yes, on the 11th, one more day. On the 11th, Venus, see here, at 29 degrees 55 minutes of Cancer, is going to shift into Leo. Venus, how we engage with that process, that we, invite others to participate in our dance moves in, more or less some level of togetherness. Going into Leo, Leo is about taking chances. It's about the process of, stepping up to the plate and, becoming a magical child, a performer, if you will. Something that can be seen as, the noble knight or princess. These are versions of Leo out there making a splash, taking the chance to, express yourself out there to the world. And Venus is saying, let's do this together. Let's find a common ground, or maybe something that we might work toward discovering what's common between us. And Mercury, you can see Mercury's already in Leo, so those thoughts, those words, those inspirations to, to get out there into the limelight are already underway. Venus's arrival says, let's do this together. Notice the moon keeps moving too, and I'm going to come back to that. On the very next day, Venus has just gone into Leo. It opposes Pluto over here at 1 degree of Aquarius. There's an opportunity there that won't necessarily be or could be expressed as, you know, this is going to be beneficial. No, I'm more inclined to say there are going to be challenges that are, you know, percolating just perhaps below the surface, and saying, you know, oh, by the way, while you're hooking up with the energy of someone else, you know, are you paying attention to the dynamics of what the other person may be going through? Are you listening? I mean, really listening with your heart to where is this other, my other, if you will, having challenges that aren't necessarily there at the surface, you know, just below the surface, that could, if we could be still enough and listen perceptively to what it is that this other, a part of ourselves, has to offer. Be patient. Don't try and jump in so readily into what it is that they have to share. And on the very next day, see the moon here? It's got into Libra. There's our Venus inkling again. This is the first quarter moon. Crisis in action. You know, what did you set in motion at the last new moon that happened in Cancer? I think it was 14 degrees or something like that. Now, let's play a little bit more with this astrological tool. Often when I look at a chart, this is a technique I learned through the studies with Kelly Lee Phipps years and years and years ago. The moon is your soul. And you look at the soul first and say, what's the soul version of what is going on? And since right now, we're going to go back here to the beginning of the week. You know, we'll pretend like this is a chart. Now, there are certain things that I'm not going to be able to look at, like when you look at a chart, you say, where's the moon? What does your soul have to say? Well, the moon is in Leo. So here we could say, this here is the soul of the performer, the ruler, the magical child, the entertainer, the noble knight, or the princess. And then we look at the sun. Sun is the path that we're on. So the sun is walking what path? It's walking a Cancer path. So here's the path of the matriarch, the path of the protector, the healer, the mother, the nurturer, the cook, and the counselor. After that, normally you would go to the ascendant. This is kind of like, you know, when I step out into the world, how are people going to perceive me? That's your ascendant. But because we're looking at a general chart here, you know, that, you know, every day rotates in its 24-hour experience all the way around, changing the ascendant, changing the midheaven. By the way, the midheaven is one thing that can be looked at as an aspect that tunes into what is your mission in life. And you look at, oh, there's all kinds of factors and ways to do that. And because of an opportunity, I'm going to pull up a chart and guess who we're going to work with? Taylor Swift. Sure, why not? She's a public figure and she's quite dynamic. And, when she began her life journey, we will notice that we have the moon in Cancer. Here was that energy of the healer, the protector, the matriarch, you know, in its own sign. That's a very strong, lunar equation. And, just to add a little extra, spice into what it is that it's conjunct Jupiter. And they're both in the eighth house. There is a side to Taylor Swift that, I don't think that any of us have the capacity to really tune into the mysterious. She is at work in an eighth house fashion, Cancer playing, how can I tickle the parts of you that are tuned into your heart? Have you listened to her music? There's an invitation there to participate in what it is that she is talking about as she puts out those words. And she's walking what kind of path? The sun, Sagittarius, ruled by that same Jupiter that is conjoined her moon. And the sun is conjunct the ascendant also in Sagittarius. She's walking the path and wearing the mask of, of a Sagittarian. What kind of energy do you think that might be? Let's throw some Sagittarius terms out there to see if any of these might just fit into her dance. The philosopher, the teacher, the gypsy, the explorer, the pilgrim, the seeker, the scholar, and the priest. The next time you tune into what it is that Taylor Swift is offering you, see if you might observe that she is actually preaching. And I don't mean that in a, the mundane version of the church version of preaching. I mean, this is Sagittarius. There's a invitation, if you will, to an unlimited elseness that we are being invited to participate in, in the mysteries of life. She's got that percolating always in her makeup. Her midheaven mission in life is up here in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, which is down here in Aquarius. 11th house is in a, technically has an Aquarius affinity to it. In the 11th, there's an invitation to group energy. And her Venus, the ruler of that house, is in Aquarius. How can the energy of the group really move more into the relationship zone where we are discovering within each other aspects of ourselves that are, trying to come to the surface. And right now, you will notice this Venus, she was born with that 1 degree of Aquarius. That's where Pluto is, There is something under the surface percolating within her to, bring things up that others may or may not be ready for. We could look at another aspect of the chart, and these are the nodes. The nodes are like a destiny line. Her south node in Leo, in the 9th house, could be an indication of something from her previous incarnation or life experience has, in a Leonian fashion, been stimulated by being that presence on stage. There's Leo. In the ninth house, in the field of, no limitation, always seeking the more. This is a foundation upon which she has a lot of pre-built in energy. The North Node in this destiny line is her path, part of her path. That, remember, mission, midheaven in Libra in the group. How can we bring the group together? Listen to her words, feel her energy. And the North Node down here in Aquarius. Pay attention, my friends. Her insight that she is developing through the use of her tool is an invitation to all of us to participate in this third house Aquarius. What is there that she represents that could be an opportunity for us to learn something? This is the dance. The soul dance, if you will, for our Taylor Swift. So, crisis in action coming this week at that moon, first quarter moon in Libra, right? Yeah, in Libra. Are you, Libra is a cardinal sign, are you paying attention to that interaction space that we share one with another? Taking the time to listen, to, like the man on the gondola boat, find a still place within which to perhaps sit and meditate upon some of the deeper, more soulful versions of what it is that you came to participate with in this life dance, in our earth walk together. Are you tuned in to all the soul beings on your path? This is the invitation that right now the moon is bringing for us to consider our Cancer parts. How tuned in are we to our root structure? There's another Cancerian moon consideration. Do we feel our roots are anchored appropriately? Just some thoughts that this day I bring for you to meditate upon. I meditate upon this stuff all the time. It's one of the reasons that the astrological tool is so fabulously exciting for me to participate with in each chart reading that I share. And thank you, Taylor Swift, for doing the dance with us today. I think we all should appreciate what it is that she is bringing through her music. Music, vibrations that just reach out, it can really touch the heart. That same kind of energy during a chart reading, it's there. And that's, kind of what I want to tap into. What is your soul mission? if you're interested, contact me. Let's have a chat about your astrological soul mission. You might be surprised. I know I'm always surprised. I don't know what's going to come up. It's just not possible to know that because it's a conversation. It's a give and take of that soul flowing energy forth and back as we discover what is this life dance about. That's all I got for this week. See y'all next week.